Greetings, dear seeker of truth, and welcome to Blessed Horizons. Imagine this: you're walking through life, weighed down by doubts, fears, and a nagging emptiness that no amount of success or distraction can fill. Maybe you've been searching for meaning, crying out for a sign, but the noise of this world keeps drowning out the answers. What if I told you that over 2,000 years ago, the skies darkened, the earth trembled, and the very fabric of reality shifted, all to reveal a truth so powerful it could transform your life right now? That's right. At the exact moment Jesus breathed, his last 7 astonishing supernatural events erupted, proving his death was no ordinary moment, but the turning point of human history. Stay with me, because in the next 25 minutes, I'm going to unveil these 7 jaw-dropping signs, events so mind-blowing they startled eyewitnesses and still defy explanation today. You'll discover what they mean, why they matter, and how they hold the key to unlocking a deeper connection with God in your everyday life. This isn't just a history lesson, it's a spiritual wake-up call you cannot afford to miss. Oh, and real quick, did you know most people watching these videos aren't subscribed yet? If you're not one of them, hit that subscribe button now. You don't want to miss the life-changing revelations we share here every week. Ready? Let's dive into this sacred journey together. Because what happened that day wasn't just a story, it was a promise fulfilled for you and me. Picture this, my friend. It's high noon in Jerusalem, the sun blazing in all its glory, when suddenly, bam, the light vanishes. A thick, eerie darkness blankets the land, not for a fleeting moment, but for 3 whole hours, from noon to 3 p.m., right as Jesus hangs on the cross. The Bible captures this chilling scene in Matthew 27:45. From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness came over all the land. People must have stumbled in confusion, their hearts pounding, because this wasn't just a cloudy day. No, this was something otherworldly. Scholars try to shrug it off as a solar eclipse, but here's the kicker. Jesus died during Passover under a full moon. Eclipses don't happen then. So, what was it? Let me take you deeper. In the sacred pages of the Old Testament, darkness isn't just a weather report, it's a megaphone of God's judgment. The prophet Amos saw it coming centuries before, declaring in Amos 8:9, "In that day, says the sovereign Lord, I will make the sun go down at noon and darken the earth in broad daylight." Sound familiar? When Jesus took on the crushing weight of humanity's sin, that darkness wasn't random. It was God himself painting the sky to say, "This is the moment sin meets its match." Imagine standing there, the light snuffed out, as Jesus cries, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Matthew 27:46. He wasn't abandoned. He was carrying your burdens, my failures, so we wouldn't have to. Here's where it gets personal. Ever feel like your life's stuck in a shadow? Maybe a guilt you can't shake, or a fear that won't let go. That darkness on the cross was Jesus stepping into your night, so you could step into his light. Next time you're overwhelmed, pause. Whisper a prayer. Something simple like, "Lord, lift this shadow," and watch how he answers. But hold on, because the darkness was just the beginning. Something even more staggering was about to shake the very ground beneath their feet. Now, let's step into the heart of Jerusalem, right into the temple, God's holy dwelling place among his people. At the very instant Jesus surrenders his spirit, something unbelievable happens. The massive veil in the temple, separating the Holy of Holies from the rest of the world, rips apart, from top to bottom, no human hands involved. Matthew 27:51 lays it out plain and powerful. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. This wasn't some flimsy bedsheet, my friend. We're talking a curtain as tall as a 6-story building, thick as a warrior's shield, woven to last. For it to split like that, that's divine muscle flexing right there. In the Old Testament, that veil was a sacred boundary. Behind it sat the Ark of the Covenant, where God's presence rested, so holy only the high priest could enter. And just once a year, on the Day of Atonement, with blood in hand to cover the people's sins. It screamed, "Sin keeps you out." But when Jesus died, that barrier didn't just tear, it was obliterated. Why? Because his blood didn't just cover sin, it erased the divide. Hebrews 10:19-20 sings this truth. Therefore, brothers and sisters, since we have confidence to enter the most holy place by the blood of Jesus, by a new and living way opened for us through the curtain, that is, his body. Through Jesus, God flung the doors wide open, to you, to me, to everyone. Imagine the priest's jaws dropping as that veil fell. Their whole system, sacrifices, rituals, separation, crumbled in a heartbeat. And here's the treasure for you. You don't need a middleman to reach God anymore, feeling distant from him. Kneel right where you are. Speak from your heart. Maybe start with Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. And know he's listening. That torn veil means he's closer than your next breath. But hold tight, because as that curtain split, the earth itself couldn't stay still. It started to rumble. As if the darkness and the torn veil weren't enough, the moment Jesus breathes his last, the ground beneath Jerusalem erupts in chaos. Matthew 27:51 tells us the earth shook, the rocks split. This wasn't some mild tremor, my friend. This was a full-on earthquake, so fierce it cracked stone and sent terror rippling through the crowd. Houses swayed, rocks shattered, and even battle-hardened Roman soldiers trembled. Jerusalem had felt quakes before, but this hit different, timed exactly with Jesus' final breath. Coincidence? Not a chance. In Scripture, when God shows up, the earth often shakes in reverence. Think of Mount Sinai when God gave Moses the law. Exodus 19:18 says the mountain trembled violently in his presence. Or Nahum 1:5, the earth trembles at his presence, the world and all who live in it. That quake at the cross wasn't just nature spazzing out, it was creation crying out, the King has finished it. Jesus' death shook the old order to its core, the temple, the sacrifices, the law, all replaced by a new covenant sealed in his blood. It was defeat flipped into victory, a cosmic shout that death's grip was breaking. Now let's bring this home. Ever feel like your life's foundation is shaky? Maybe a job loss, a broken relationship, or just that sinking feeling of, what now? That earthquake reminds us Jesus can shake what's crumbling and build something new. Try this. Next time you're rattled, stand firm and pray, Lord, steady my soul like you steadied the cross. Claim his victory, because if the earth shook for him then, it still echoes for you today. But don't look away yet. Something even wilder was about to unfold as the tombs cracked open. Hold on to your seat, because what happens next is straight out of a divine blockbuster. As the earth quakes and Jesus gives up his spirit, the impossible unfolds. Tombs split wide open, and the dead, holy men and women of God, rise up alive. Matthew 27:52-53 paints this jaw-dropping picture. The tombs broke open, and the bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. They came out of the tombs after Jesus' resurrection and went into the holy city and appeared to many people. Can you imagine it? Graves cracking, loved ones long gone strolling into Jerusalem, chatting with folks like it's no big deal. Chaos, awe, and holy goosebumps all rolled into one. These weren't random resurrections. These were holy people, faithful servants who'd trusted God in life. Their rising was a sneak peek of Jesus' power over death, echoing his own words in John 11:25. I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. It started at his death and roared full force after his resurrection 3 days later, when these saints marched into the city as living proof. Picture a widow seeing her godly husband again, or a priest spotting a righteous elder. Undeniable evidence that Jesus wasn't finished. He was just getting started. What's this mean for you? Death's not the end, it's a doorway. Feeling hopeless, like something in your life's buried forever? Jesus cracked those tombs to show he can resurrect your dreams, your joy, even your faith. Try praying this: Lord, breathe life into what feels dead in me, and trust he's already at work. Ezekiel saw dry bones dance, Ezekiel 37, and that same power's alive for you. But the marvels don't stop here. An unlikely voice was about to speak truth in the chaos. Now let's zoom in on a rugged Roman centurion. Think scars, armor, and zero patience for nonsense. This guy's seen it all. Battles, executions, the works, crucifying Jesus. Just another Friday gig. Nails, thorns, the usual. But as the day unfolds, he's rattled. The sky goes black, the earth shakes, and Jesus doesn't die cursing like most. He says, "It is finished." John 19:30, with a calm that cuts through the storm. Then boom, Matthew 27:54 hits us. When the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and all that had happened, they were terrified and exclaimed, "Surely he was the Son of God." This isn't some soft-hearted bystander. This is a pagan soldier, loyal to Rome, suddenly declaring Jesus divine. What flipped him? He saw the signs: darkness, quakes, tombs popping open, and heard Jesus' final breath carry authority no criminal could fake. Hours earlier, he'd mocked him, maybe even hammered the nails himself. Now, he's trembling, confessing what the religious elite wouldn't. Jesus was God's Son. It's like Jesus' prayer from the cross: "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Luke 23:34 landed square in this guy's soul, cracking his hard heart wide open. Here's the gold for you. Even the toughest cynic can meet God in a moment. Ever feel too far gone? Like your mistakes disqualify you? This centurion's proof. No one's beyond reach. Next time guilt grips you, look to the cross and say, "Lord, if you changed him, change me." Forgiveness isn't earned, it's given. But the ripple didn't stop with him. The crowd's about to get a wake-up call they'll never forget. Step into the streets of Jerusalem now. Passover's in full swing, the city buzzing with pilgrims, joy and lamb roasting on every corner. But there's a shadow event. Jesus on the cross, a spectacle for the masses. Some gawk, some jeer. "If you're the Son of God, come down." Matthew 27:40. While others, like Mary and the disciples, weep quietly. The religious leaders smirk, thinking they've won. He saved others, but he can't save himself. Matthew 27:42. It's a party turned. Execution, until the signs hit. Darkness falls, the earth quakes, the veil tears, tombs burst, and mockery melts into dread. Luke 23:48 captures the shift. When all the people who had gathered to witness this sight saw what took place, they beat their breasts and went away. Beating their breasts. That's raw, gut-wrenching regret. Think of a mourner realizing they've lost everything. The same voices shouting, "Crucify him!" Hours ago now, scatter in panic, hearts heavy with, "What have we done?" They'd mocked a man they now feared was God's Son. Not everyone repented. Some ran home unchanged. But for others, this was the spark. Weeks later at Pentecost, Peter preaches to this crowd, and 3,000 turn to Christ. Acts 2:41. Signs shook them. Faith saved them. What about you? Ever laughed off faith only to feel a tug later? That crowd's your mirror. God's knocking even when we're blind. Try this. Next time you doubt, ask, "Lord, show me your truth." And listen, those breastbeaters didn't fix their mess, they just turned to him. But not everyone softened, some dug in deeper, and that choice echoed through history. Here's the sobering twist. Even with the sky blacked out, the veil shredded, the earth shaking, and the dead walking, some still said, "Nah, not buying it." The religious leaders, soldiers, onlookers, they saw it all, yet hardened their hearts. The priests, especially, had a problem. Their precious temple was rocked, literally, and that torn veil screamed change they couldn't stomach. admit Jesus was the Messiah. That meant confessing they'd killed God's son. So they doubled down, bribing guards after the resurrection to lie. His disciples stole the body. Matthew 28:12-15. Truth stared them down. They blinked. But ignoring signs has a price. Jesus warned them in Matthew 24:2, "Not one stone here will be left on another. Everyone will be thrown down." Fast forward to AD 70. Rome torches Jerusalem. The temple's gone, never rebuilt. Their rejection didn't stop God's plan. It just left them out of it. The crowd split too. Some repented, joining the early church. Others shrugged and went back to business as usual. Same with the soldiers. The centurion found faith while others stayed stone cold. Miracles don't force belief. They reveal hearts. Here's your takeaway. God's signs are everywhere. Sunsets, answered prayers, that still small voice. Seeing's not believing. Choosing is. Ever ignored a nudge from him? Don't. Whisper, "Lord, soften my heart," and act. Maybe forgive someone today like Jesus did on the cross. History shows hard hearts crumble, but open ones rise. And that brings us to the big question: what do these wonders mean for us now? So, there you have it, friends. 7 supernatural signs that turned Jesus' death into the greatest moment of all time. Darkness, a torn veil, quakes, risen saints. God didn't whisper, he roared, "This changes everything," and it does, for you right now. The question is, if you stood in that trembling crowd 2,000 years ago, would you run in fear or fall to your knees? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear your heart. Share this video with someone who needs this truth, because wisdom this deep isn't meant to stay quiet. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button and ring the bell. Don't miss the next revelation coming your way. Up next, check out The Power of the Resurrection, popping up on your screen. Click it. Thanks for joining me on Blessed Horizons. Until next time, keep seeking the light. God bless you.